Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The Ministry of Tourism has recorded a 120% increase in cruise visitors to Destination St. Vincent and the Grenadines between January to December last year. This is according to Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture, Carlos James, who was at the time delivering the keynote speech at the inaugural State of the Tourism Industry address today at the cruise ship terminal in capital Kingstown. Minister James also noted that the current cruise season is one of the best seasons ever for SVG.
Preliminary data for the period January to December 2023 shows a 120% increase in cruise visitors to the destination. This is some 138,337 more visitors to the destination by cruise than the previous year. In fact, that's more than the population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In comparison to 2019, which serves as the benchmark pre-pandemic year, we have now surpassed our pre-pandemic numbers by 1.3%. So we have recovered, but we are now moving beyond our pre-pandemic numbers, and growth will continue within this subsector. In fact, during the months of January to March 2024, if you look at the cruise schedule, almost every single day there's a cruise ship to Destination St. Vincent and the Grenadines. When you don't see them here, they're in the Grenadines, in Mairo, in Beckway, in Union Island, in the Tobago Keys, and at different ports of entry.
The tourism minister said while SVG is experiencing an increase in cruise calls and projected visitor arrivals, the current cruise sector has outgrown its existing physical infrastructure.
And I want to add to that transportation services, which includes land and marine tours. This existing location at the cruise ship terminal, we have outgrown the space here. In fact, their cruise agents will tell you there are occasions they have to cancel bookings simply because we don't have enough berthing facilities to accommodate more than 2 ships at a time at Port Kingstown. It clearly shows there's a demand. Cruise lines are ready to come to our destination, and we have to provide the infrastructural support to accommodate them. To resolve these challenges, we will embark on the construction of a modern cruise terminal within a few years, shortly after the completion of the modern commercial cargo port.
Minister James also announced today that there will be an increase in international flights in and out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He outlined that there will be international flights to the destination from London Heathrow with Virgin Atlantic, Miami with American Airlines, Toronto with Air Canada, and New York with Caribbean Airlines. The tourism minister said data from last year shows a 35.7% in air arrivals to St. Vincent and the Grenadines compared to 2022.
Traffic management system comprising of an air traffic control simulator, automatic dependent surveillance broadcast, ADSB, a multilateration MLAT as a strategic move in revolutionizing our air travel within the jurisdiction. The integration of these advanced components signifies our commitment to enhancing our civil aviation to a safer and more efficient industry. The preliminary 2023 January to December data also shows a 35.7% increase in air arrivals in comparison to the same period 2022. While air arrivals steadily grow, unreliable and somewhat inconsistent regional air service continue to prevail and severely affect regional travel. We expect some improved inter-island and regional airlift as small airlines expand their fleet to accommodate the growing demand for travel.
It was also announced today that year-long flights with Air Canada will recommence after a suspension of service from Toronto to SVG during the summer over the last 2 years.
After 2 years of suspended services from Toronto to St. Vincent and the Grenadines during the summer, we have successfully negotiated year-round service from Toronto to the destination. The summer schedule will commence Sunday, April the 7th through to October the 27th with weekly service out of Toronto. We negotiated and worked closely with Air Canada and also shared that responsibility with some of our sister islands, Grenada, and we collaborated to ensure that we had year-round service to the destination. Every source market, we will now have year-round service coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
SVG is also expected to welcome JetBlue flights this year.
As we approach the winter season 2024, and as of November, American Airlines will now move back to 6 flights per week, excluding Wednesdays. Immediately, the American Airlines portal is open for these bookings as of today. Additional airlines, we continue to work closely with other airlines to improve airlift capacity. In a few weeks, we will announce at least 1 new additional airline which is expected to enter the destination by year-end. These airlines we're still closely negotiating. We're looking at least 3 carriers likely to come into the destination between this year and next year, but I can safely say we already would have secured JetBlue to come to the destination this year, 2024. Of course, due to the negotiations, I will not announce the other carriers, but I can safely say that JetBlue will be landing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines 2024.
And St. Vincent and the Grenadines was back on top as a leading yachting destination in 2023, and this is expected to expand further this year. This is according to Minister of Tourism Carlos James, who, while delivering the inaugural State of the Tourism Industry address today, said last year there was an uptick in yachting arrivals to SVG by 43%.
We're now at a figure of 50,476 yachting calls to the destinations. This subsector is expected to expand further in 2024. I want to look at the year-on-year numbers comparatively for the various subsectors. Visitor arrival numbers continue to show strong and robust growth. All categories of 2023 visitor arrivals showed increases in comparison to the same period in 2022. Stayovers were up by 35%. Same day were up by 83%. Yachting up by 43%. Cruise currently up by a staggering 120%. Collectively, the preliminary data shows that 2023 outperformed 2022 by 83.2%, almost doubling the previous year's performance. This is our tourism response and the hard work of all of the stakeholders that they put in during our build-out, during our recovery.
Minister James said the Ministry of Tourism this year will seek to put more measures in place to increase marine security to address the problem of yacht break-ins.
We will this year also increase marine security on the leeward coast of the island and also the southern Grenadines. This will provide greater protection for our sailors in the yachting sector. And in so doing, just a few months ago, we established or re-established the Coast Guard base in Bequia, and I see representatives here from the Coast Guard. So there's a sub-base in Bequia to address the issues of yacht break-ins in the northern Grenadines. And naturally, on the western side of the island, we will establish again this year a sub-base to look at marine security, particularly for our yachties, as we continue to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and continue to lead and remain the leading destination for yachting within the sub-region.
And on radio yesterday, leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, said even when the numbers in tourism go up, the earnings do not necessarily follow, which is an issue of concern that has to be addressed.
For example, in 2019, you had 200, according to the ECCB, you had 242,000 visitors. And yeah, and you have $180 million in EC dollars spent. And then you have in 2023, you have more, 253,700 visitors, but the spending is $129.4 million. So it is, it is less than in 2019 when you had fewer visitors. So that is part of the challenge. What we need to do is to have higher value tourism as well, not just numbers, but that you have the spending. And that's part of the challenge we have here, is that when the cruise tourism, for example, come, we have one of the lowest spending rate of the cruise visitors. That is the crew who work on the boats, because they measure them separately from the guests who are on the boat. But you want them to come and to be able to spend. My philosophy is always, you want them to max out their credit card and spend as much as they can here, not just do it all on a boat or take it somewhere else, because that is how we benefit from it.
Dr. Friday said measures have to also be put in place to get visitors to spend more when they are on the island.
What you would want is to have, especially when the cruise visitors come, instead of $55 and $60 spending per average per person, in some other countries, $120, $160 per person. That is where you want to be headed. And then as a Minister of Tourism, as a government, if you are at the bottom, which we are, then you have to ask yourself, well, what do we do to get the spending of these visitors to increase? Because they're not going to just give you your money because they come to visit. You have to have stuff to sell, and you have service to provide. You have to have tours to do. You have to have things that they're interested in, because a lot of those people come, they have modest means as well. They're not wealthy people. They come and they want to have value for money. Taxi drivers will tell you that sometimes they're negotiating with them to go to the beach around here and so forth, as to people tell them how much they should be paying, and they come and trying to bargain. The taxi driver has to say, well, listen, I can't do it for that, but here's what I would offer, and so forth, and try and get some business. But these are things that we need to do better. And the Minister of Tourism should have been in the Parliament last, in the budget address, explaining to the people how we're going to take advantage of the cruise tourism that's coming now, the uptick in the number of yachts that have arrived, and then of course hopefully we can have an increase in the stayover visitors as well. Our tourism is still, a fraction of what it is in St. Lucia in terms of the earning, and in Antigua and so forth. And there's no reason why it should be. Absolutely no reason why it should be, because we have so much more to offer, and we just need to be more forward-thinking and have a minister and a tourism authority and a Ministry of Tourism that work with urgency to develop this industry. And that is why I have outlined in our program for the economic development of the country that we have tourism as one of the pillars of our economy. We have, the crafts and so forth vendors will get a lot of assistance from us because we understand the economic importance of it.
Noting that more needs to be done to support the people in the industry, the opposition leader said he doesn't believe the industry is given the attention that is needed as a key economic earner.
The urgency and the importance that is required is still the largest foreign exchange earner that we have. It's a very, very important industry because the growth potential is there. It's not like we are a mature tourism economy. We are at the growing stage, and that should be a rapid growth because we have what it takes to get people to want to come to this country. It's a beautiful country, wonderful people, and everything. But we got to get all the elements correct. And the Minister of Tourism missed his big opportunity. I hear you're going to have some talk somewhere where you're going to present something about tourism. where he should have come is in the parliament and talk about that, and let us then have a chance to interrogate it, to question it, to push, and to hopefully get something better out of what is required. But that has been terrible miss on the part of this government. That's why I've said, I describe the budget they presented as a budget of missed opportunities. They have not provided for jobs, permanent jobs, for rising wages and so forth. They have just simply missed the boat. And it's time that you have people in place who are bringing fresh eyes to this thing, who are eager and keen to develop, to work with the stakeholders, not to put them down and to make them feel inferior to government and so forth. Because you're a minister of tourism, don't mean you know everything about tourism. In fact, you know very little compared to the people who are working in the industry for so many years. So humble yourself, go and talk to them and say, listen, I'm here to serve you to try and get this thing working, build our tourism up so that we could create jobs, better paying jobs for our people, and tax revenue so the government can function more effectively. That is not being done. We have a lot to do to get that going. And the budget would have been a good place to start, but they failed.
The prize-giving ceremony of the 2023 National Lotteries Authority 9 Mornings Christmas Festival is scheduled to take place this Saturday, January 27th, 2023 from 9:30 a.m. at the Peace Memorial Hall in Capital Kingstown. At the ceremony, prizes will be distributed to the various zonal and national winners in the National Champion Best Lit Community and Best Lit Private House. There will also be the distribution of prizes for the Best Lit Garden, Best Lit Nativity Scene and Best Lit Commercial Building. The winners of the much anticipated most popular local Christmas song and the Digicel Bring Your Song and Come competition will also be announced at Saturday's prize-giving ceremony. Addresses will be delivered by Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture, Carlos James, and representatives of the major sponsors, the NLA and VINLEC. The NLA 9 Mornings Christmas Festival was held from the 16th to the 24th of December 2023. We hear that investigators at the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, have opened an investigation into what the police say is a very disturbing video that is being circulated on social media. The video shows a minor female being physically abused and suffocated by someone who sounded like an adult female. The RSVG police force says the child was removed from the home by social services and placed into foster care, where she will receive the necessary treatment and care that is needed. Meanwhile, the police are in the process of apprehending the suspect. The police are asking anyone with information that can assist with the investigation to call 999-911 or contact the Criminal Investigations Department at telephone number 1784-4571211 extension 483. Any police officer you are comfortable speaking with or the police station nearest to you. The police say all information received would be treated confidentially. In other local news now, we hear that the National Archive Department of Trinidad and Tobago is assisting SVG with the transition of services of the National Public Library, Archives and Document Services through the digital platform with a series of training activities this week to get the staff equipped with digitization skills. At the opening ceremony of the training workshop on Monday, Senior Archives and Records Officer of the National Archives Department of Trinidad and Tobago, Roma Wong Sang, said that they are happy to be part of the project, equipping the staff of the SVG National Library, Archives and Documentary Services with digitization skills.
Digitization represents golden opportunities for archives, not only in preserving at-risk archives, but importantly, in opening up access to archives through web and other digital technologies, as Mrs. Campbell so nicely pointed out. With online access, archives as primary sources of our history, heritage, and democracy becomes more visible. So the age-old perception of archives as being dusty and books stored on shelves may finally be demystified thanks to technology. But digitization is just the first step towards digital transformation for National Archives, as its collections are still paper-based. And I was very pleased today to hear the initiative for the audiovisual archiving, because that's something I am championing at home with our government media as well. So I am happy and I applaud the efforts to preserve our audiovisual heritage as well. It is an important step that must be done right, and there are standards for doing this.
In her welcoming remarks, Director Michelle King-Campbell said that January 22nd marks a significant moment in the department's journey in preserving and promoting its historical heritage through the transformative power of digitization.
As the custodians of our nation's rich history, the National Public Library, Archives and Documentation Services play a pivotal role in safeguarding invaluable artifacts, manuscripts, and documents that tell the story of our past heritage. The transition from traditional to digital formats is not merely a technological upgrade. It is a commitment to ensuring that our country's history is not only preserved for future generations, but is also made accessible to a wider audience. This training program is not just about acquiring technical skills. It is about embracing a mindset of innovation and adaptability. Our dedicated team will undergo comprehensive training to harness the full potential of digitization technologies, ensuring that we are at the forefront of preserving and promoting our heritage.
Minister of Education and National Reconciliation, Curtis King, said that the National Library Archives and Document Services Training Workshop is being held as part of the Ministry of Education ongoing program to enhance the capacity in the Department of Libraries, Archives and Documents Center.
Enable it to play a positive role in the achievement of our priority strategies as outlined in our 2024 budget. As indicated, this is an ongoing program, and you heard about its commencement. But I must say to you that the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2021 eruption of our volcano, plus, very importantly, the likelihood of similar occurrences in the future force us to act with greater urgency in terms of the program of digitizing our records.
Outlining some of the achievements of the National Library Archives and Document Center, Minister King said that the center has made significant advances in the use of modern technology to manage and deliver its services.
So I was saying that a number of EBSCO databases are now available to the public, students, researchers, and patrons, as well as the visually impaired. Very important. These databases can be accessed remotely via the department's website or on the compound of the facility. And these databases comprise recent journal information, e-fiction material, e-textbooks, maps, pictures, lesson plans, audiobooks, and other material in varied formats. We have the resources to assist our students and all other users and researchers. All you need to do is to get in contact with the library. Yes? Because they are available for use. Now, secondly, the Alexandria Library Management software has been upgraded and is now completely web-based. Again, a next tool at your disposal.
In more police news now, we hear that the SVG Police Force, in collaboration with the National Commission on Crime Prevention, the Police Band, and the Redemption Sharps Police Youth Club, will conduct a walkabout and community concert this Thursday, January 25th, 2024, in Redemption Sharps. The police say the walkabout will commence at 4 p.m., followed by the concert at 5 p.m. on the Redemption Sharps playing field. These activities are part of the SVG Police Force 2024 calendar of events to increase the organization's visibility and its relationship with communities and members of the public, with the primary objective to build resilient and safer communities through community policing. Meanwhile, the Sexual Offences Unit in the Eastern Division of the SVG Police Force, in collaboration with the National Commission on Crime Prevention and other partners, will host a march and rally against sexual abuse this Friday, January 26, 2024 in Georgetown. The event will be held under the theme, Know Your Part, Do Your Part, Break the Silence. The march will commence at 1 p.m. at the parking lot opposite the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, along the Georgetown Public Road to the Wynwood Mall, and back to the Georgetown Police Station, where the rally will take place. During the rally, brief remarks will be delivered by Acting Commissioner of Police Enville Williams, Acting Assistant Commissioner of Police Trevor Bailey, and a charge by Pastor Shakika Fraser. The feature address will be delivered by Staff Nurse Tekla Jack. There will also be cultural presentations and performances by the Georgetown Police Youth Club, South Rivers Methodist School, Sandy Bay Secondary School Band, and a skit by Zaria Glasgow.